I am not afraid of the dark. Low lighting and the shadows caused by it do not particularly scare me. I am able to navigate through a dimly lit hallway and experience only a slight tingling feeling of alarm flitter across the back of my neck. I've experienced dark hallways many times and have learned through experience that a shadowy hallway does not present any real danger to me. I am certain that in my youth, the horror of a dark hallway seemed insurmountable. I have at least one distinct memory of lying in my bedroom with my feet pointed towards the door. The summer night was hot and sticky, and the bedroom door was left open to allow for better airflow. The hallway to which the room connected seemed exceptionally long as I peered over the lumps of my feet into the darkness that seemed to grow in depth the longer I gazed. I remember wondering whether it was better to stare or to bury my face into my pillow and pretend that the hallway light was still turned on, and that the creeping shadows were not ever drawing nearer to my bed. Exposure to fearful situations can strengthen and better the mind by acting as purposeful or accidental therapy. Facing a known terror head-on, though emotionally daunting, can often result in significant personal growth. This video is an exercise in one such exposure. The shadows of which I remain afraid do not stretch into a basement hallway, but rather cross the faces of elders. I stumbled across a certain video on accident while scrolling mindlessly and endlessly as one does. The video was short and not narrative. It did not push an agenda. It did not seek to persuade. The short clip showed a row of adults, presumably in their retirement years, playing electronic slot machines. The machines were comprised of multiple screens connected to an arcade-style kiosk. The video itself gained massive popularity after being thrust into the collective mind of the internet in 2022 and garnered much attention, positive and negative. Over 20 million people have seen the short video if one is to believe the metrics presented by Twitter. My reaction to the scene was not unique, but nonetheless sincere. I watched as what appeared to be a room full of people tapped incessantly at a large button before them. The methodical speed and lifeless posture of the individual struck me deeply. I felt an intense desire to help them. I felt as though they were trapped and unaware of the situation that they were in. The trance-like tedium of it all was simply overwhelming to me, and I had to put my phone down to reflect on what I had seen. I pondered on the implications, not of the video, but of my reaction to it. Why had I grown so uncomfortable at the sight of adults participating in an activity that they presumably enjoyed? Was my disgust selfish? Was my contempt found only in my misplaced expectations for the lives of others? No, I do not believe so. After much reflection, I have come to the conclusion that it was not disgust or contempt or even pity that I had felt. It was fear. A deep and real terror that arises semi-regularly in the minds of those familiar with it. I had witnessed the row of men and women tapping endlessly at the row of machines before them and had been forced to confront mortality, purposelessness, and hollow desire in their full effect. The bodies of the individuals were not in their primes. The eyes that stared hollowly through the machines in front of them had once beamed with excitement at the prospect of love, at the hope of tomorrow, and at the future that seemed so far away. But that's the arrogance creeping through yet again. The judgment of others often seems an easy way to dismiss their plights. I truly did not and do not care much for the lives of those that spend their time gambling away savings and remaining daylight hours. But I fear the normality of it all. I am awed by the horror of the realization that I am no better, no wiser, and no stronger willed than those before me. I am afraid of the inevitable decay of my autonomy. I fear the creeping of old age, the decay and confrontation of its side effects. I will work until I cannot, as my father before me, and will strive earnestly in my toils, the assurance of compensation preached by the society that surrounds me. But what if there is no just compensation? What then, if the wages of a lifetime of moderation and sweat is to sit as a puppet in a dimly lit room, tapping endlessly upon a button that glows before me. Oscar Wilde wrote in The Picture of Dorian Gray, "The gods have been good to you, but what the gods give, they can quickly take away. You have only a few years in which to live really, perfectly, and fully. When your youth goes, your beauty will go with it, and then you will suddenly discover that there are no triumphs left for you, or have to content yourself with those mean triumphs that the memory of your past will make more bitter than defeats. Every month as it wanes brings you nearer to something dreadful. Time is jealous of you and wars against your lilies and your roses. You will become sallow and hollow-cheeked and dull-eyed. You will suffer horribly. I am not afraid of the dark, not in and of itself. I am, however, horrified by the darkness I have seen stretched on the faces of those whom life has slipped away from too quickly. Those whose faces twinge with confusion as they search with great effort in their memories to recollect how 70 years had been spent with such frivolity. The hallway light is off, and the darkness seems to draw closer to the bed in which I lie. But exposure can be therapeutic, and I challenge the darkness to approach.